Hello everyone, my name is Priya Patra and welcome again to one more exciting session from PMI Chapter Exchange. I am the Vice President Outreach of PMI Mumbai Chapter and I forgot to share my screen. So let me share my screen before I get started one more time. Yes, here it is. Now, give me a thumbs up if you're able to see the screen. So again, introducing myself, my name is Priya Patra and I am the Vice President Outreach of PMI Mumbai Chapter and I am the host for this session today. We also do have Pierre Axel from South Africa Chapter. Pierre, you want to say hi to everyone?
Hi everyone, my name is Pierre from PMI South Africa chapter, and I wish you a very, very good session today.
Thank you, Pierre. And we also do have Rushang from PMI Gujarat Chapter. Rushang, are you there?
Hello everyone, I am Rushang from PMI Gujarat India chapter. Welcome everyone.
Correct. And of course, Damike, our chapter leader from Sri Lanka, as my co-host. So, Damike, if you can introduce yourself and welcome our attendees here to our event.
Yeah, thanks, Priya. Welcome to PMI Chapter Exchange Season 2, Event 6. So today we discuss digital tools and project management. And today we have our PMI friends joining in from different PMI chapters: Indonesia, PMI Gujarat, PMI Zimbabwe, PMI New Zealand chapter, PMI Phoenix, Czech Republic, South Africa, Netherlands, Sri Lanka, PMI South Florida chapter, PMI United Kingdom, PMI Lima Peru chapter, PMI Sao Paulo, Southern Alberta chapter, PMI Kenya, PMI Ghana, Poland, our supporting chapters, PMI Greece, and PMI Puget Sound. So please say hello to each other and continue networking while we get started today. We are excited to announce we have 113 registrations from across the globe, from USA to Australia, New Zealand, and all countries and continents in between. So thank you everyone for this warm response to this initiative. Now, as you see on screen, please go to www.menti.com and use the code 98457691. Please add the Menti poll link on the chat box. So you can click on that link and key in this number 98457691. Okay, so now we will have some working agreements, right? The meeting is being recorded. If you are uncomfortable in any ways, you may choose not to attend, else you are welcome to continue. Please make sure that your mic is on mute during the session. Your noise making devices are put on silent. Everyone here in this event are speaking on our individual capacity. Our views do not represent our organization's views in any ways. Priya?
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Damike. And with this, I would like to invite Ashwini Bakshi, the Managing Director of PMI Europe and Sub-Saharan African region, to kickstart the session. And before I do that, I would like to introduce Ashwini a little. Over the last 25 years, Ashwini has led several businesses in the European region, with technology leaders like Nokia, Ericsson, and Catherine Groups in global roles. And I love what he says. He says we need to rethink actually, purpose, customer experience, performance, reliability to become agile together. And this is so much close to my heart. And only when you do that, we can deliver value swiftly and step up as leaders. And we can balance between technology and human capabilities. Well said, Ashwini. And with this, I hand over the virtual stage to you to kickstart this event.
Thank you very much, Priya. Just a quick audio check. You can hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Great. So first of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here today. And I certainly hope that all of you are well and safe wherever you are. We are starting to see the green shoots of recovery from the pandemic in several places, but I would still urge caution and precautions as you go about your daily work. It's not quite behind us yet, and we don't want to go into yet another lockdown. So please, whatever you do, stay well, stay safe, take care of others around you as well, which in any case is a core value of the whole PMI community. Thank you also for giving me the opportunity to be at this event, and it's wonderful to see participants from so many countries. I somehow thought it would only be India and Poland, but looks like it's genuinely a global event, which makes it even better, and I'm really pleased that I'm here today. You've also chosen a subject which is close to my heart, even though PMI, as all of you know, doesn't do that much directly with tools for project management, but we live in a world which is increasingly digital, which is increasingly smart digital, and we have to be able to know what is going on in that space. So let me start by, as I thought about this subject and I had a couple of conversations internally as well to pair with PMI colleagues who know a lot more about this than I do. I came with 3 thoughts for all of you. These are not any declarations of wisdom or deep knowledge, but these are thoughts based upon my own experience, my own conversations in the profession, and either online or offline, I would then love to hear what you think as well. Now, as you know, there is an old saying that you should wear or you should get the best possible shoes that you can afford and the best possible house that you can afford. The reason is you're going to spend a lot of time in them. So, you can compromise on other things, but do not, as far as possible, compromise on the quality of your shoes and the quality of your house. It's a little bit the same with tools. So because we are all project managers in one way or another, this is how we make our living. We spend many, many hours working with software tools. Please make sure you get the best tools possible. Now, I'm not going to make any recommendations. You can, there are many, many tools out there. I'm happy to share lists and so on. There are tools for waterfall. There are tools for agile. There are tools which do collaboration better. And there are tools which do task lists better. And there are tools which do risk management better, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to go further. But I think that from my experience, a tool should be able to do a few things really well. And I will read that list out to you. The first, of course, is collaboration. A good tool should let you connect with other people in the project team, but also outside the project team. So make sure that the tool you choose lets you communicate swiftly and with as much detail as you want to communicate with, number 1. Number 2, the tool should let you look at your project through various lenses. And what I mean by lens is that during the life cycle of your project, sometimes the light will be shining on costs. Sometimes it will be shining on scope, and other times on risk, and other times on partners and stakeholder communication. So make sure that your tool lets you shine the light, lets you apply these different lenses, so that when you get asked questions, when you have to explain things to your team, when you yourself are diving deep into the detail, you're actually able to apply that, and then of course to be able to synthesize it as well. A good tool these days should have some modicum of intelligence as well. It should do some of your work for you. It should be analytical. Now, whether you use artificial intelligence or whatever you call it, the tool should provide you with some insights. You should not have to do all the work. So look for predictive capabilities, look for native characteristics of the tool in terms of how smart the tool is. And finally, knowing that projects have, a life of their own almost, and you have to be able to move quickly. A tool should enable a rapid response. So you should be able to reach out to people, to other teams, to people outside of your organizations, to your boss, and so on and so forth, and either drive or request or support an action. So 4 things to my mind that a good tool should be able to do: collaborate well, let you apply different lenses, call it flexibility, needs to be smart, predictive, analytical. It should enable a rapid response, number 1. Number 2, you need to understand, we all understand the limitations and boundaries of tools as well. A tool is not a magic pill. And as just this morning, I was speaking to the PMO head of a large medical equipment, medical solutions company, and he said something very interesting, which I want to actually read out to you. And he said, a project plan is your best estimate of the future as a project manager, but it is not the future. It is your best estimate. You have a plan, you have hopefully a good plan, a good tool, but it doesn't mean that you're there. So you need to understand and constantly look out for a few things. And these are the ones that you know, but you need to know the pivot points. Where do you need to accelerate things? Where do you need to crash time schedule? Where do you think it's time to stop and take pause and stop to go faster, as the saying goes? You need to know what are the points of proactive management. Where do you see things going down the pipe that your tool is not telling you, but you are doing the sensing as a person by synthesizing what the tool is telling you? So be aware of these limitations. A tool will not take into account the external environment. A tool could not have predicted COVID, for example, or the fact that your organization may get acquired by somebody else. So that information is something that you have to process. These days, we are seeing a lot of resurgence in the whole notion of risk. So keep looking out for your risk management, keep looking at your risk management chart and see how you're going to manage that. A tool is not going to do that for you. So be aware of these human organizational limitations. Be aware also of technical limitations. Your tools will probably need to work with other tools. I mean, systems is an obvious example, but you may need to work with increasingly design tools. So if you're in manufacturing or pharma, you have product design tools, and they have design characteristics built in, and they need to be able to work with project management tools, because the lifeblood of many organizations is their ability to release new products on time. Can be short time frames, can be like in pharma drug development, can be years. So make sure that your tools have the ability to speak to other tools as well. So understand the limitations and the boundaries. Number 2, number 1, select a good tool. But finally, a tool is a tool. It is not going to do the work for you. It will show you the way. Who has to do the work? It's the people. It's the members in your team. It's your colleagues. It's HR and procurement and finance and supply chain guys and the contractors and everybody that you work with. I like to say that if you're a project manager, you have a span of control of 10 to 15 people. Each one of those people probably have 5 to 10 further interface points. So in reality, if you think you're running a 10-person project team, you're probably running in reality a 100-person project team. Now imagine unleashing the power of these 100 people. So make sure that every time you're looking at a technical aspect, ask yourself the question, that's what the technology is telling me. What are the people telling me? Continue to synthesize, continue to work with this duality, and you will increase the probability that your project will be a success. You'll get the job done on time, on spec, at cost that you projected. So I would leave you with those thoughts on the tools landscape. I think we can go on for a very long time during this discussion, and I certainly hope that you will have a deep dive into some of these elements during the remainder of the session. But I wanted to leave you with some of these observations around what your project plan is and how should you look at the tools landscape as you go about doing your job. And Priya, with that, I will pause and give the mic back to you Thank you.
Thank you, Ashwini. And you just hit the nail on you just hit the hammer on the nail, I would say. And of course, and I love what you said, tools are not everything. It cannot do the magic. It is the people who will make it happen. And it is the project manager who can, who has to take the decision when to pause, when to accelerate, and when to do proactive risk management. Tools cannot do that. And tool is a tool. People are more important. And I love that. And obviously, these are very, very good thoughts that you have planted. And it's just a good way to start the discussion that we are going to have coming forward. And thank you, Ashwini, for your time. Please stay along if you can. Let us know your thoughts as well.
For a
Help
little
us
while.
to. I wish you could stay longer, but anyways, it's up to I leave it up to you. And with this, I will move on to the next part of the segment, that is talking about what PMI Chapter Exchange is all about. So if you can see my screen again, give me a thumbs up. Yeah. All right. So I think people can see my screen. And I'm just asking again because I heard WebEx had a upgrade today. I hope things are working fine. Yes, our vision is to evangelize cross-chapter collaboration, and that's why you will see so many chapters coming together. And we do encourage cultural diversity. And today we have 20 chapters on this platform and many, many supporting chapters. And that's why you will see we have 1,013 registrations from 50 plus countries. And it is all about teamwork. We have actually moved beyond events now. Earlier, we were just co-creating events. Now we are co-collaborating on building something what we call as insight exchange nuggets. These are key takeaways from the session, and we try to bring in diversity of thoughts by asking two questions to our panelists from different continents of this globe. And we have launched 5 of them, and basically you will see them uploaded in our chapter website, PMI Mumbai chapter website. So you can download it, you can have a look at it. Please do share your feedback. You can drop us a note as PMI chapter exchange @gmail.com. And by doing this, we are building a community to share best practices within as well as external to the program. And of course, we grew not only in numbers, but with a sphere of influence through diversity, inclusion, and equity of thoughts. And here we are not talking about gender diversity, but demographic diversity. It's about bringing people from across cultures on one platform. And that's why you will see chapters from diverse backgrounds joining in this program. Because we truly believe diverse connections to lead to innovative solutions. And that was about chapter exchange. And without wasting any more time, I would like to introduce our spotlight chapter, that is PMI Poland. I would like to call upon Thomas to come and speak about the chapter and why he decided to join this program. But before that, I will introduce Thomas a little. Again, Thomas is an agile project management professional, just like me, with rich experience in IT projects, just like me, and agile teams. He's a long-time volunteer, maybe not like me. I just started volunteering from 2015. He is the alumni of PMI Leadership Institute Masterclass. And what I loved about his resume is that he thinks chaos is an opportunity to discover unique and unknown patterns. And that's just like me again. He's also a university teacher specializing in project management, agile transformation, risk management, researcher of AI applications in project management. Oh, wow, that's so good. And he is a fan of data-driven management. With this, I will hand over the stage to Thomas Yu to tell us more about your chapter and why you think that this can add value to your members and your chapter. Thomas, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello, thank you. Can you hear me? Let me check the audio.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. That's great. I would like to actually share 3 ideas from our experience in Poland. Actually, this is an amazing idea what you are doing here. This partnership of so many chapters, this thing that we can do so many things together. And when I've heard what Ashwini was talking about, I was smiling because my learnings I want to bring to you today from our experience in Poland is so close to his findings. So first, when I'm thinking about tools, because this event is about tools and digital tools, I first think that whatever we will be talking about tools, my key learning mainly from the previous year is first think about people. So whatever tools you will take, whichever tool you will take to your project, to your process, first think about people. And maybe this is so important for us because we are working as volunteers in PMI chapter. From our experience last year, we've decided that if we would like to change anything around us, the first thing we should focus on is just the satisfaction of volunteers, and this was I would call it a critical mission for the last year. So if anyone would ask me what was the greatest success of last year in Poland chapter, actually, we've increased the measured satisfaction of volunteers from some level to a higher level. And it's not maybe a business result, but we believe that if you would like to change something around you, first start from your team, first start inside. And the second finding, again, this is from our experience in Poland chapter, it's partnership. So especially in last months, actually, it's the second year of the pandemic, of the second, just another lockdown all around world is coming through. So we believe that it's much easier to do some great and amazing things if we are trying to do it together with some partners. And actually, this is the main reason why we've joined this amazing idea, because we, the world just went online. Everyone, even those organizations, those people who 2 years ago didn't believe that some things can be done virtually, after the pandemic started, we've just realized that it's not even possible, it's just a must. So it was a very hard switch from one reality to another reality. And the world is so small today. And if the world is so small, we are just neighbors, just behind the glass screen of our laptops and monitors. And even if I'm, in an absolutely different part of the world, I can see you as you would be just at my home. So this is amazing. And we've realized that this exchange program is an amazing opportunity just to make a bigger impact, to share some ideas all around the world, to have a stronger voice and share the values and the ideas PMI is spreading around about project management and value delivery. And I think this is it. This is it. Yes, I was told to talk not more than 5 minutes, so I have to stop at this moment probably because I'm always talking too much. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to join this event.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. That was so well said and crisp and just on time. Thank you very much. Hopefully someday we can give you a little more time as a panelist, because I mean, yours and my interest matches so much. So definitely, I'm very, very impressed by your resume. Thank you very much. And with this, I'm not going to share my screen anymore. I will hand over the stage to Karthik But before that, let me introduce Karthik, another stalwart, another superstar. Karthikramamurthy is our session moderator of the day. I met Karthik in 2017 in the global conference in Chicago, right, Karthik? Okay, Karthik, yes. So, and since then, I am amazed. I am awed with the deep expertise he has in all fields of project management, organizational strategy, uh, P3M consulting, including PMO setup and optimization, social media marketing. Talking about social media marketing, he was named as one of the 100 leadership experts to follow in January 2017. Woo, isn't it? And I was fortunate to be part of his team as a social media champion for another global conference, which was the EMEA Global Conference in 2018. And trust me, there's lots to learn from him in this field as well. He is an inspirational keynote speaker, presenter, panelist, moderator. I think he has moderated more than 40 plus PMI events so far. And you will see, he is really good. I have attended some of his sessions. It is fun and very, very inspiring. His passion for volunteerism is unparalleled. He's a long-time volunteer leader with Project Management Institute in several global as well as national and local roles. And with this, Karthik, I hand over the session to you to take it away.
Can you hear me, Priya?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you so much, but I'm a little upset with you, right? As a project manager, I tried to set realistic expectations, whether it is my stakeholders or audience, and now you've raised this expectation. So I think I should send you an invoice for that. Anyway, jokes apart, it's great to see 465 plus participants. And remember, Priya said 50 plus countries. Remember at a time when we are competing with the opening ceremony of the Olympics, right? 465 people have decided to trust us over the opening ceremony. So thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. So I just wanted to say, we have an amazingly talented and experienced panel, people passionate about this topic. So we hope to provide you a lot of very useful information in this session. So I hear the word digital everywhere, right? Today, there are auctions for digital art, right? Fetching millions of dollars. So we talk about digital citizens, digital highways, everything, right? So obviously, there are digital tools. Way back 30 years ago, when I started in project management, we had practically no digital tools, right? Today, we've come a long way, and we hope to answer a lot of questions. I'm going to talk less. I'm going to allow my very talented panelists to talk more. But first, Priya, if you could share your screen. I wanted to ask the question. Ashwini spoke about the pandemic and all that. So I wanted to ask the question, are you stressed today? Not for this panel discussion, but generally in life, are you stressed? So you can type your answers in the chat window or Q&A, whatever that is. Their screen will come up, coming up right now. So are you stressed? You can type. So Ruwangi Munasinghe from Sri Lanka says yes. I can see that popping up. So 50-50, somebody says. Amani Adepu says yes. So Preeti Vasan Makan also says yes. So somebody says no. So it's a mixture of yeses and no. So we thought we'll give you a little bit of work for your brain if we could go to the next slide, Priya. A little bit work for the brain. It is said that when we do brain work, we start to get less stressed. So what you see out there, if you can click again, Priya, is actually a crossword clue, right? Where the answer is 2 words of 7 letters each. All of us have played dumb charades and all that in school, college, all of that. So the answer to this crossword clue is 2 words, each 7 letters. Click again, Priya. So this also has something called an anagram. Anybody knows what an anagram is? You can type. Oh, Prasanna Sampath Kumar has already got the answer. He's from my local chapter. Thank you, Prasanna. But I'm not going to give the answer yet. So to understand what an anagram is, click again, Priya. It's one set of words or letters which, when you rearrange, you'll get another word. For example, if you rearrange attack, drew, help, you could get Hewlett Packard. Same letters, just in a different order. So apart from Prasanna, anybody else can try. Here we use an anagram. So you know the total letters in the answer is 7,7, which is 14, right? You're looking at 2 or 3 words that together will be total 14 letters. So just to make it a little quick, I'll let you in on a secret. The letters here are, the words here are Met, Japan, Grocer. You're going to take Met, Japan, Grocer, and you're going to rearrange it. Priya will just give them 30 seconds to see whether anybody else can get it. You're going to rearrange Met, Japan, Grocer to get a key job title. And it should be pretty easy for you guys because all of you know what kind of profession you're in. So we'll just give it 30 seconds. Just rearrange the letters in Met, Japan, Grocer. Shika Singh says project manager, and right she is. So the first to get it right was Prasanna Sampath Kumar from Chennai. You can write it out. Biju Nair also says project manager. So I hope that didn't stress you more than it should have. It didn't increase your stress levels. But let's quickly go into our session today to introduce our very talented panelists. But before I go to Charu, I first said I'll go alphabetical order. And then I thought, shouldn't it be the lady coming first? And luckily, even in alphabetical order by first name, it was Charu coming first. So I didn't have a hard decision to make. But before I let Charu briefly introduce herself, I should bring you the happy news that one of our panelists, Hans van Bommel, is having his birthday today. So in my local language, I'd like to say Pirandanal Nalvarthikal Hans, that is happy birthday in Tamil. So Charu also speaks that same language, so she'll say that, but each one of our panelists, before introducing themselves, will actually say happy birthday in their mother tongue. So Charu is from Silicon Valley, land of the free. I think she has quite a bit of a role with WebEx, right? She's helping us run it very smoothly today. So all yours, Charu.
Thank you, Karthik. I decided to wish Hans in another language from which is native speaking in California, and that's Spanish. So it is Feliz Cumpleaños.
Thank you.
Happy. And yes, I speak the same language as Karthik. So to give the quick elevator pitch, I am a program manager. I handle a platform as a service, a cloud virtualization platform at Cisco, and I also handle big data as service. So, but there have been other projects and programs I've handled back and forth. They keep coming and going. So, web services was another one, and I recently transitioned that out. Then we had data services. So it's been a wonderful journey in project management, handling traditional project management as well as agile project management. Fun fact about me, I love mentoring and teaching, and teaching Tamil is actually one of the things I've been doing for the last 10 years. I meet all kinds of kids as part of teaching, from age 5 to right now, age 14, I think. And it's been a great experience. I am also in big time into professional volunteering. So I volunteer with PMI, I volunteer with Scrum Alliance. And the mantra I like to keep in my mind, a couple in my mind all the time, is keep it simple, stupid, and try to do more with less. Be a lifelong student. You never know what you learn from anybody. So with that, I'll turn it back to Karthik.
Awesome, Charu. Thank you so much. Next in alphabetical order is the birthday boy, the guy with the dazzling smile. Hans is from the Netherlands. I had his, so it was Zeiss to Utrecht. Is that the right pronunciation, Hans? And from the Netherlands, there was a famous children's author called Hans Christian Andersen. So his name was easy for me to pronounce. All yours, Hans.
Thank you, Karthik. And thank you all for inviting me for this event. I'm really surprised by how well it's organized, although it's international. That's complex on itself. To introduce myself, I'm an electrical engineer. I did engineering physics. I worked at particle accelerators, and after that I went into digital transformation since 20 years now. And I mainly found out that we are actually managing uncertainty, because it's really difficult to plan and to make sure the outcome we like to have will be also the actual outcome. And that's why over time I started to study, and flow is actually became my big thing. I always say without flow you can't be agile, and it means that we actually manage organizations in the now with overview and insight. And when we talk about digital tools, I've seen many tools, and the good thing is that as we combine it to get insight in our substance we deliver to the outside world, to our customers, and we have day in, day in, and not too much abstractions or models, because models are very difficult to maintain. And it's also with tools, too much tools means a lot of maintenance of the tools itself. So we are actually managing in complexity. And that's why flow, digital transformation, and I'm a big fan of technology, and I think technology is neutral, and we can use it for the good and for the bad in general. And I'm happy I'm gonna join the session the rest of today. Thank you.
Great thoughts, Hans, and I like that you touched on models, which is an area of my passion. I volunteer with PMI's Ethics Insight team. So next in alphabetical order, we have Newton Madzikwa from the wonderful nation of Zimbabwe, known for the world-famous Victoria Falls, one of the 7 wonders of the world, right, Newton? And I've always followed, they're a small country, but they have a very courageous cricket team whom I followed with a lot of passion for a long period of time. All yours, Newton.
Thank you very much, Karthik. And it is a great honor and privilege to join PMI session today and be part of a good and wonderful panel that we have today. Basically, my name is Newton Madzikwa. I work as an executive director with one of the big 4 firms here in Harare. I've been in project management for over 20 years now. Now my role is more an executive role on projects. So I know what it means to be a manager and spending sleepless nights, especially if things go wrong. And one of the things that we're talking about today is technology, or tools, technological tools that can be used in project management. Probably before getting into depth around that, what I'm passionate about is personal development. I believe that the only way you can stop being a victim is when you determine, or you define the narrative. So when you develop yourself, you give yourself the opportunity to determine what happens to you, or what happens on any project. And I'm excited that one of the things that PMI does and does very well is continuous development of project managers. And I'm excited that I'm in the right company. The other thing that I'm excited about is technology, and for the simple reason that the future is is digital. If I say the future, probably I'm being modest. Now is digital. So it's defining the now. And for you to future-proof your future, you have to embrace technology. And as highlighted earlier, those that were ready pre-COVID pandemic in terms of embracing technology, they suffered less trauma, less challenges, less stress when the pandemic hit. And those that were not ready, some of them will remain in the past. They are part of our history, which means they are not part of the future. So I'm excited around technology, self-development, and being relevant. It's very, very important. And if you really look at all those aspects, they all start with you as an individual. And I'm excited that I'm in the company of people that have decided to do something about where they are and where they want to get to. Thank you. Over to you, Kat.
I thought you were going to wish Hans in French.
Oh,
yeah. Happy birthday to Hans in French.
In fact, I've decided to say it in my native language, Shona, Makuro Koto, which means congratulations on your birthday. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So last but not the least, we have Ramon Castro. Castro is a famous last name in your parts from Lima, Peru, land of the Machu Picchu. And I've heard a lot about the famous Peruvian coffee. So all yours, Ramon.
Thank you, Karthik. I'm so glad to stay here and share experiences with all of you. My name is Ramon Castro. I am an electronic engineer. Since I was a child, I discovered that technology was a challenge for me. Then I studied electronics and have been involved in computers since the 90s. At the beginning of the century, I decided to be a project manager, of course, in technological products. And I have been living in all the changes since the first cellular phone to the last computers. And I like technology a lot. I'm passionate about technology. But as a project manager, I discovered that personal development is so important. Soft skills. We need all the soft skills. And then I try to develop my my soft skills, and of course, how to share with my team. Mentoring. For me, mentoring to lead the people to discover their own abilities and skills is important. Then I've been working as a mentor at the chapter for 5 years, and I like it. And today I want to share with you some experience about the digital tools. I like digital tools. I try some of them, not all, because there are too much. I hope, I'm sure that I spend a good time with you. Thank you very much. And because it's Hans' birthday, in Spanish, Feliz cumpleaños, Hans.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ramon. And Hans, if I want to look at the chat, there are people wishing you in their own native languages. So it's not just the panelists. So I'd like to start with a general question. We'll give priority to questions that are coming in live. I already see a couple of questions, but I wanted to ask in each of you in 30 seconds, what is one of the biggest advantages of digital tools in effective project management, and one of the biggest disadvantages? One big merit of digital tools and one big demerit, advantage or disadvantage. And probably since we went in alphabetical order the first time, I normally run quizzes. So we have a clockwise round and we have an anti-clockwise round. So we'll start with Ramon first. One of the biggest advantages and one of the biggest disadvantages, Ramon, of digital tools in project management.
The main advantage for me is how to manage data. We have a lot of data around the world, and we can read and we can find in a traditional way, just reading. We need digital tools to compile that information, that data, to process it, and to show up the result that just we are looking for. Then it helps to get the data in a short time, of course.
And a disadvantage, Raymond?
Sorry?
A disadvantage with digital tools?
I can hear you.
Any disadvantage you can think of digital tools? Biggest disadvantage?
Yeah, the main is how to process data, how to give us the data processed.
Okay. Going on to Newton, your take, Newton, on the biggest advantage and the biggest disadvantage in your mind on digital tools.
I think for me, the most important advantage would be efficiency in decision making. I think projects that do not use tools tend to find it difficult to get value out of the data they have or from the information available. So when you have tools, you are able to harness that information and then enhance your decision making. Then the disadvantage I would put probably as being the top disadvantage is security. If you are not careful when it comes to these tools, you need to be very, very vigilant when you deploy these tools. Thank you.
Great points, Newton. Thank you. Coming back to Hans, your view.
Thank you. Yeah, the good thing is that I can combine some stuff of Ramon and Newton. Is we need data for decision making. The good thing is that tools give overview and insight, and it should help us in our forward movement to our strategic intent or vision of the company. At the same time, it adds complexity, because when the data is not attached to the reality of the organization, then our decision making is being corrupted by the data we deliver. So it's communication and the human factor, like has been said before by our Polish colleague. Thomas, yes, Thomas, is we need to learn to all manage a company in and now with oversight and insight, and use tools as a support of our own communication and never let it take over, because we are still together more intelligence than all tools together. That's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hans. Great points. What about you, Charu? What is your take on these things?
So projects are about people, process, and many of the other integrating factors like communication being one of the central things, of course, working with your stakeholders. So what do tools bring to the table? Tools allow you to streamline your process, and tools allow you to bring an accurate status. And today, tools are all about crunching data. We want insights, we want value, we want to be able to realize business value, we want to be able to use the tool effectively across multiple strata of corporate, whether it is your executives or whether it's at the project manager level, and our stakeholders are varied. So that is what the tools give you. They give you the opportunity to crunch the data and provide the insights. And it is becoming all the more critical to have tools which are effective to do that. However, at the same time, tools don't replace people. So to me, that is one thing which is, we are never going to be able to replace the manual or the people component, and projects are all about people. If you have effective people and the blend of people with the right tools, you will always see effective project completion and successful projects being delivered. So the disadvantage which tools bring to which tools have is they are only as effective as the weakest link.
Great point, Charu. I remember visiting, I think, SeaWorld in San Diego, where I lived for a little while, and there used to be a show called Fools with Tools, a couple of animals working with tools, right? And then they used to say, a fool with the greatest tool is still a fool, right? So a tool has to be in the right hands and used properly. So excellent points from our panelists out here. So I'd like to go to some of the questions that we've started getting. I'm just reading from my phone because Rishank is doing a great job capturing some of those questions and posting it in a WhatsApp group. So one of the questions, and since we did this general question, what we can probably do to accommodate more questions, each of these questions that we have, we can have a couple of our panelists take them. You can raise your hands, and then we can take it from there. So one of the questions I have, I don't know, Rishank, if you could post who posted this question. So this question, I'll read it out slowly. I can see that currently there is a lot of business analytics and data science tools in terms of analytics and trends. How can such tools be utilized effectively in project management? So the person is asking, how can business analytics, data science tools for analytics and trends be used effectively in project management? So any one of you can take this question, just raise your hands and go ahead. We have Hans with his hands up first. Go ahead, Hans.
Analytics and real-time analytics are great, but are you using the right metrics? So which metrics are we using? How are we measuring transformations? And I think it's definitely possible, but we don't do that a lot, and we do not correlate on it. So what are we looking at? What are we measuring? So I think in all cases, especially in this sense, analytics tools are great, but you really need to know. I saw a message: garbage in is garbage out. That's true, and you need to know when you put some garbage in what you're measuring. So yes, it definitely helps, and it supports us people, and not the other way around. Yeah.
Thank you, Hans. Newton has his hand up.
Yeah, for me, just to buttress what Hans is just highlighted, it's very important for you to, yes, it's good to deploy tools. There are so many of them out there. But what is important is, what is it that you're seeking to achieve? What is your objective? One thing that I can assure you, or most of us would agree, is there is a lot of data that we collect, be it on a project or related projects or projects that may not be necessarily within our organizations, but are out there. And all that information or that data is telling a story. But unless and until you know what question you want to ask of that data, it becomes useless. And when you then say, which tool am I going to use? Yes, there are so many of them, but there is a tool that then has to match the question that you want to ask. And when you ask the right questions using the right tools, you will definitely get the information that you're looking for. And the impact can be really, really positive. But if you get the wrong tools and ask the wrong questions, as Hans highlighted, garbage in, garbage out. Thank you.
Maybe I could add a little bit to Newton. Newton, you were talking about creating the narrative. And a narrative means creating emergence in projects and a join-in of all the brains in the projects. And when you get data out of analytics, it should also support the same narrative. So you can also match it with your narrative, and is it supporting our story and the direction we are going?
A great point. Anything you want to add, Charu or Raymond? We don't have to necessarily limit to just 2 people per question. If you want to add anything, feel free.
So one of the things I have realized working in data projects is the data we're collecting is just humongous. The volume of data is increasing exponentially, and our other panelists, Hans and Newton, have already talked about how it is garbage in, garbage out. So the challenge we're faced with today with data and analytics and trying to get the trends out is really being able to keep up with the pace. The tools have not been able to keep up with the pace. There's just an explosion of tools as much as there is an explosion of data. And that's kind of probably where I like to go back to the simplicity aspect of it and think about what really is going to make our project successful, right? And this is an example which I've talked to my team about all the time. CAPTCHA, for example, CAPTCHA comes to the forefront. Someone wanted to vet out all the robotic accounts which were trying to create accounts with no limit or no control in the web, and there needed to be a method to vet those robotic accounts out and make sure they're real people. Someone had the idea of thinking outside the box and coming up with just a checkbox. All it needed was that idea. That idea did not come from a tool. It came from a person. It was simple. You needed to check a box, and it needed a mouse and a mouse click for you to make sure that it was not a robotic account. We need tools, or we need the option to be able to filter out what data we are going to get. And today there is just way too much data. So for being effective, an effective project manager, you want to be able to identify that minimal requirement of data, which is going to get you to pass the finish line, which is going to ensure, and the data is not just project management data or analytics data which is coming your way. It is also insights data, which does not actually have to do with project management. It has to do with what your project is delivering. So it is important to differentiate these two. And for effective project management, I would focus on your key performance metrics, the OKR, making sure you are meeting those and delivering your project. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. That checkbox was a very simple example, and you stressed on the importance of the idea coming from a person. Anything you want to add here, Raymond?
Yeah, if we're talking about productivity, machine productivity, about maybe the weather condition in the future days or years, data analytics, data science will help us a lot. But if we are talking about our daily job as a project manager, communication, I think it's not so helpful, because how to predict the reaction of the people about a message? I think it's not yet possible. Maybe some ideas, but we can't predict if the message will be received as we know, as we want. Then these tools are important for some part of the project, but not for the communication between the people.
Thank you very much. So that was a great set of insights from all our panelists. While we discussed how we would do this session, we felt it was important to engage our attendees as much as possible. We're engaging you with answering your questions, but we also thought we'll have a couple of polls to get an idea of what you think. So if Priya could share her screen, we have another short poll on Menti. A simple question that Priya will show right now. You navigate to menti.com, use this code 99115748. So this question says, how important are digital tools to ensure success in modern projects, starting from the most important as critical, right down to that they're optional. So we'll give you maybe 30 seconds. As panelists, we'd also like to hear from you the way you're hearing from us. So please do vote. We have 460 people on this call. Let's get at least 300 opinions. As Raymond and Hans and all of us said, the larger the sample size, the better we'll get an idea of your questions. So while you do that, I just wanted to, when Charu said her native tongue is also Tamil, I wanted to mention that Tamil is the oldest living language in the world, and you can Google that. So we have a couple of quite a few responses coming up. And I wanted to add that when we spoke about tools, my own son's sacred thread ceremony, it's a very important stage in a teenager's life. I planned it as a project and I did a complete WBS. Those of you who want can connect to me on LinkedIn, send me a note, and I'm happy to send that. But I did not use MS Project for that, right? Like Newton said, you have to choose the right tool for the right job. Just because you know MS Project or Primavera, you're not going to go and use that for a simple event like this. So it's also, I guess, a question of the right tool for the right job. So we have around 100 responses. Those of you who didn't, if you can give us some more. 100 responses is only 25% of those here in this session. So I see here that 38 plus 58, right? So 38 plus 60. 98 people are saying either critical or important with 10 people. So around 9% are actually saying that it is moderate or optional. So any comments from our panelists on this data as it comes up? Go ahead, Newton, and then we'll have Hans who raise his hand.
I think it's very important for I'm happy that the bulk of our audience, or at least a good representative of our audience, is indicating that tools are critical and important. I think they are indeed critical, especially if you want to have that right visibility across your project. And it's very important, especially as a project manager, you need to have a pulse on every aspect of the project. As Ashwin indicated in the opening remarks, that the spotlight shines on different things at any given time during the life of a project. And as a project manager, your eyes need to be on the dashboard so that resources are shifted towards where where the spotlight is. And without tools, it becomes very difficult for you to be proactive. You tend to be reactive, and once you become reactive as project managers, we know that it's not a nice place to be. Thank you.
Can I go?
Yes, please.
Yeah. I want to say two things. The funny thing is that as with elections, because we were showing the results while voting, it's being influenced. The data is being influenced because we saw the visuals. So I recommend next time that everybody needs to vote intuitive, and then we show the results, because then we get another outcome probably. This already says something about data. And the other thing is that so yes, I'm actually happy that important wins over critical, because we should really not exaggerate it. So the discipline and the maintenance which comes along by keeping all these spotlights, dimensions in line with each other and really give us what we need is definitely important and supportive, but nothing goes as far as our experience. So I think nowadays I see people coming out of university and they want to get to a very important position already very fast. But I always refer to sushi masters. If you want to start your own restaurants, first work 10 years in the kitchen, because we are working in a complicated world. And what I sense now in 20 years doing this, that every 5 years I feel in myself that I gain in wisdom and insight, and I need less data and less information, and I know really how to direct it. So while getting older, along with getting older, like 45, wisdom comes along, and that's a big advantage. 45, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Hans. Anything, Raymond or Tarun?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So just thinking of what Hans said, that there is a leading aspect to the voting, but the piece which was resonating with the results is truly we have moved from optional and moderate to critical and important. That's a trend we need to acknowledge, that modern projects are no longer going to be, modern projects are going to utilize tools in some aspect or the other. And we are going to have a very small percentage of projects where you may not have any tools which are being used. So that is one of the important takeaways. The other thing I was thinking is, if you had shown this poll last year when people were not able to come into the office and work and so much was in flux, critical might have won. So that's the other thing we need to recognize, that this is just a snapshot in time, and this snapshot in time could vary depending on our environmental factors. It could also vary depending on what kind of modern project it is. But it is heartening to know that there is a larger section of project managers as well as people who are executing projects in some fashion, realizing that it is critical and important to have tools at your disposal. And also that also backs up the fact that you need to learn how to use those tools. And there is more learning involved in the process. And in general, there is more awareness of how to make modern projects more successful.
So before I go to Raymond, I saw an interesting comment on the chat box where I think it is Denise Samuels who says, it is important now, but going forward, it will be critical and become our dependency as our dependency on tools is increasing day by day. So you are mentioning that 10 years in the past, it might have been moderate. It has become important now. Last year, it might have been critical because of the COVID pandemic, and it is important now. So just wanted to acknowledge Denise Samuels who made that interesting point there. All yours, Raymond.
Okay. Nowadays, I think that the digital tools are key resources. They are necessary, but to ensure their success, yes, but the success is our responsibility, not the tools. Then we need the tools as a resource to ensure the success of the projects.
Karthik, you need to unmute.
Sorry, my bad. So there's a very interesting question that has come up. It's been posted on our WhatsApp group. From Biju Nair, it says, can we predict or forecast the outcome of a project before the project is started using AI or machine learning tools? I'll read it out again. Can we predict or forecast the outcome of a project before the project is started using AI or machine learning tools? So Priya Patra would remember, we both attended a session at the EMA conference in Berlin. It was a German researcher who I think was teaching in South Africa at that point. And he actually did a couple of simulations live about an AI machine learning system. And he spoke extensively on this subject. But let's hear from our panelists first. Maybe we start with Newton this time.
Thank you. For me, I think it's not. There is nothing that is 100%. You cannot predict 100%, even using machine learning or artificial intelligence. But you get closer to the possible outcome, and it's definitely a tool that you need to have. But there are some factors. For instance, there was no way that artificial intelligence could have picked that COVID-19 will become a global pandemic. So it will definitely affect the outcome. But all things being equal, then yes, you stand a better chance of getting a closer predictive outcome. Thank you.
Wants to go next?
Me?
Yeah, absolutely. Birthday boy. You get the
Yeah,
first
sorry.
preference and everything.
I think that again, wisdom and experience gave us the possibility to build up some preconditions, and that's why I developed the Flow Manifesto.io, because there are some preconditions for today with the knowledge we have today. So then we have a bigger chance of a positive outcome, and in a couple of years we know even more. The thing is that if we want to use AI nowadays has a lot of limitations. It overcompensates itself. So AI can only be done based on patterns. So we need to get into some really strong metrics, measure them, and when we get a lot of patterns out and correlate them, we will get closer and closer to predicting outcome. I know there is also some science done and that we can highly predict it, but it's very rare, and to reproduce it, we need all the circumstances in place. So it's difficult to predict, but exactly as Newton says, we will get closer to predicting outcome over time by more knowledge, good metrics, and wisdom.
Maybe 30 years from now.
To be honest, I don't think in my life I will really see it happen, but yeah.
Come on, you're saying you want to live to 75?
No, even maybe in the next 40, 50 years we are going fast, but I think we are opportunists in general. People are opportunists. Yeah.
Yeah, may you live a long, healthy, happy life. But
in digital transformation, globally agile transformation, we saw since waterfall that we are still around the 70% fill ratio globally. And failing is not completely failure, but also separate failure or scope creep and whatever. So what we saw is that the agile movement on a small scale added to a better outcome, but on scale we are not doing a better job yet. So we still need to learn a lot. We are still in a young industry if it's about digital, for instance. So there's a long way to go. And to be honest, I really think we need top managers more incorporated in the whole substance of what we are doing. I think we have two streams, and I think actually that the project managers and technologists go a lot faster nowadays, and we are disattached from the governance of the organizations and top management. And top management has now the biggest role in the next step of performance of the enterprise.
Great point, Hans. So in fact, when I wrote my book, Say Yes to Project Success, we first looked at 20 biggest reasons for project failure, right? And we said we would set solutions against it. And the point that you just made, right? Lack of engagement of top management in a project, engagement, that was actually the second or third biggest reason out of 20 for project failure. So it's a good point that you make that the organizational strategy and the high level management needs to get involved in the project. So in the interest of time, Charu and Raymond will have the next question answered by the two of you. But we thought we'll just come up with our second poll. We're trying to get as many questions as possible in. So if you could load the second question, Priya. So having first looked at the importance of digital tools, here we are asking you, in what project areas do you think digital tools are the most important or can provide the best bang for the buck for a project? So is it meetings? Is it document management? Is it project tracking or collaboration? And I know if I gave a fifth answer of all of these, everybody might have chosen all of these, but we wanted you to actually apply your mind and choose, in your opinion, which of these four do you think is the most important where digital tools can make an impact? At this time, Priya will not load the screen. Hans had an excellent point there. In India, actually, there is a rule that no opinion polls can be published a certain number of days before a election, or if elections are happening in different states and different points, you have to wait till all the election results or the day before the election results so that the influence doesn't happen. So while we speak, it's the code is the same. Go ahead and vote. So I started my stopwatch right now. So we'll give you exactly 60 seconds. And Priya, I'll let you know when the time is done. And then you can actually go ahead and stop. So that's around 10 seconds.
Yes, Karthik. So 100 people have already taken the poll and now we are 205. So we'll wait.
Yeah, maybe 40 seconds. We are 20 seconds in. And thanks for that great point, Hans. How other people vote may certainly influence what other people do. So that's a good point. See, we always learn continuously. So Priya and I have also learned something new today about how to do these polls in future exchange sessions. Thank you.
Yep.
So another 15 seconds, Priya, and we can close the poll.
So we have 125 people taking the poll. You want me to close it now?
Yeah, we had 140 last time, so let's just give it 10 seconds and try to reach that 140 number. Come on, folks, you can do it.
134 now, 6 more.
6 more, yeah. It's good as project managers to set small targets and try to surpass them next time. 140? 145?
148.
Okay, so
141. Yes,
okay, we exceeded that. So let's close that and look at the results.
Yeah, I'm pulling it out here now. Where did it go here? Just give me a second. Yep, there it is. Karthik, you're on mute again.
So 73, which is 75, which is, I guess, slightly more than 50%, say project tracking. Next comes collaboration. Third is document management, and final is meeting. So very quickly, in I think 20 seconds or less, what do each of our panelists think of these results? We'll start with Charu this time.
Thank you, Karthik. I have a mixed feeling about this. Yes, project tracking and digital tools go hand in hand, but most recently I have felt collaboration is a place where digital tools, the collaboration and meetings kind of go together, and collaboration and being able to interact with people, especially in the last year as a project manager, managing multiple programs across distributed teams across geographically diverse time zones. The collaboration and meeting them, being able to see them or talk to them, reaching out for statuses, any way we can get our teams to facilitate our teams to deliver, right? That felt to me more important, and it's likely that that number will change over time, or project tracking will continue to stay at the 50% mark. But I think that project tracking is very important, and we do need the digital tools because there's a lot of data we are trying to work with. We want to be able to get executive statuses out. We want to be able to see trends, analysis, and really measure project success.
Charu, what about you, Raymond?
In my case, of course, all of them are important, but depending on for me, in my context, the culture that the project I am involved, the biggest problem is document management. Then for me, for my projects, I think digital tools are more important for document management.
Newton?
I think just to borrow from Ramon as well, it's very important. It depends on the maturity or the pain point that an organization is facing at any given time. So you'll find, even as a project manager, project tracking is a given. Collaboration is something that we have to develop, and you'll find that a lot of us would struggle around that place because it's a soft skill, which is not typically found in a project manager. So it's something that we have to really probably will need to. So I really understand where those that are saying collaboration, because to them it's an area of discomfort. Tracking, it's a given because that's how we are measured. Document management, again, depends on the maturity. There are some organizations that are very mature in that space and they are very happy. Thank you.
Hans?
Yeah, I agree with Ramon. I think that on the part document management, which I like to call substantive governance, I would like to challenge everybody here today to, when you deliver a project or when you're in an enterprise with a lot of projects, and I rather talk about delivering products, so product-based delivery instead of project-based delivery. I think it's much more sustainable because it's continuous, it never stops. A project means also we lose a lot of knowledge and we start and stop stuff. So I really like the idea of creating a meta model of information, abstract, minimal information we need. And I would call it document management, but I don't like wikis and that kind of stuff because it's getting messy. I only have seen it working once when there was a sort of, there was one person sitting on the wiki day in, night, and then it was great, but otherwise it becomes messy. That's why it's better to have the minimum set of information about metrics, about your products, about the status of your substance. I said manage transience of your substance is very important. So, and you see also in the outcome that it's still poor. We need a lot more of that. And I think then project tracking becomes, and collaboration becomes even more effective if we get this done well.
Thank you, Hans. So going back to one of the very first questions we received, it's an area Hans touched on when he said models, but we probably have time for a couple of questions if we go through quickly. And if Raymond or Charu can take this very quickly, because I'm noting down, trying to be fair to everyone, give equal time. So this question is from Sri Priya. What is the positive or negative impact of digital tools on ethics in a project? The impact of digital tools on ethics in a project. And being part of the Ethics Insight team, I couldn't say no to this question, but I think it's also a very relevant question. We have people working from home using collaboration tools. Are they really putting in their time on projects? We have to trust them to do that. So in the pandemic, we've seen the best of people. We've had heroes. We've also had people profit from this situation on that. Similarly, in a project scenario, what do you think is the impact of digital tools on ethical behavior in a project? Between Raymond and Charu, who wants to go first? Charu, go ahead.
I can start. So the part about ethics and professional responsibility with reference to digital tools and data is the veracity of the data itself, how accurate it is, and how we can use that to get any insights out of it. The other thing is data in itself has exploded. We did talk about that earlier, right? So the data has exploded to a point where even to control the internet today, we are still trying to bring laws. We are still trying to bring it within a model which is acceptable for use. Data privacy, opting out. So we had all this for press. We had all this for mailers. We had it for emails. And today we are coming to a point where it is all on the web and data and multi-channel marketing, omni-channel marketing. Corporate is all about reaching and increasing the customer base. So we need to balance. We need to play the balancing act where the data is accurate. We are able to collect, and we are going back to Hans's point, we're able to collect and we are able to actually monitor and use the data properly, and not only collect and disseminate it, but also be able to release it properly. You know, we don't want to release personally identifiable information or something which should not be there, which should not be floating out there in the first place. So it becomes all the more important for ethics and professional responsibility. So we want to review the digital tools which we are using and make sure that we are meeting minimal required ethics and professional responsibility. The other part to Karthik about time tracking and people doing are they actually spending the right amount of time? That goes back to the people aspect of it, you know. So we have to build the trust. We have to build the respect. So maybe I'm picking up the agile trait and going back there, but building a commitment, shared commitment, building trust and building the respect, I believe will bring the best out in people. So that is where you're going to get effective project delivery once you harness the people. Thank you.
Your thoughts, Raymond?
Yeah, if we're using digital tools, artificial intelligence to predict a machine productivity, to predict the budget accomplished, I think there is no problem with that. But if we're using these tools to predict people engagement with the project, how will we our people productivity, I think it could be so risky because the tool could be failed, and we are judging the people according to this. I think it's a problem.
Thank you so much, Raymond. I think we had a great panel here today. We had several more questions, but it's a fine line for a moderator to go too deep into some questions and very superficially there. So we wanted to strike a fine balance. I also had to be fair. In fact, PMI's ethics, code of ethics and professional responsibility actually has 4 major pillars: responsibility, respect, fairness, and honesty. So I had to be fair to all panelists. I had to be fair to all the questions also that we got. And I'm happy to see out of the 460 participants we had at the highest point, we still have 430 of them, which means kudos to every one of you panelists. We lost less than 5% of people through the session. That means we were able to hold their attention despite the fact that they could have gone on to see an India-Sri Lanka cricket match or the Olympics. So thank you very much, Priya. Thank you very much to all the panelists. I just want to say
correct you, we had 471 participants.
Yeah, so at 430, we've still lost only 5%. In fact, PMI at global conferences, one of the measures they have to see the effectiveness of a session, they find out how many people still stayed till the last 5 minutes. So in that sense, I think all of you have done a great job. I was just a tool, not a digital tool, a living tool. I was just a tool in trying to get your perspectives, and I hopefully did a reasonable job. So over to you, Priya.
Yeah, and what you see here is the PMI ethics card, as Karthik just said: fairness, honesty, responsibility, and respect. And with this, I will hand over the session to Brushank. You will see, Brushank, are you there?
Yes, Priya. Thank you. So, thank you all panel speakers for a wonderful session. There are a lot of insights from our experts today. A few points which has left me thought pondering are like what Ashwini said, that he did set up a good basis for a good tool for project management. He said the tool should collaborate well, smart, predictive, analytical, and versatile. Charu made a point. She said tools allow you to analyze data and provide insight, but the idea is generated by the individual. That's very apt there. I like the point that Raman made. Data tools are key resources, but the responsibility of success lies with the project manager. And what Newton said, I think it's a very strong statement. It says, without tools, you become reactive to the situation, and that is not a nice place to be. And finally, what Hans added is, in order to have AI predict your project performance, we need very strong and relevant patterns. And while we are getting closer, there is still some time, and we need to learn a lot. And by the way, in Gujarati, we say, Janma Divas Shubhkamna.
Happy birthday to you, Hans.
Thank you very much.
I thought he will guess it. Priya.
Yeah. So what you see on your screen is the feedback link. Please do scan the QR code and give us the feedback. The link is also there on your chat window. I think Pierre has already pasted it there. Also, don't forget to claim your one PDU. Take this PDU code, and you will get a PDU mailer as well. So don't worry if you have not been able to capture the code. And please do share the topics on the feedback link which you would want to hear from us in the future. And with this, thank you all panelists for joining in and making this session so interactive. All attendees for joining in spite of the Olympic going on. Thank you, Sachin and Sunil, for being such a wonderful WebEx admin and making this event as smooth as ever. Tamike, thank you for being our social media champion and making those live posts. And yeah, is it time to take another group picture or we are done?
I think, Priya, you had said that you would share the LinkedIn addresses of the panelists in the chat. So all of us, we love to be part of this community, share our knowledge and learn from you. So Priya will share the LinkedIn, our LinkedIn URLs on the chat, if not now, a little while later. And I think I speak for all our panelists. We'll be happy to connect with you to continue being part of a thriving project management community. Thank you.
Yeah, and I had already done that before, and I've got at least 30 plus LinkedIn requests so far. I have done that right now again. Please do take your, connect with our panelists. Feel free to take this conversation forward. This is not the end of it, but definitely we can be part of this community and watch out for our next event next month, again on a very, very exciting topic, and that is design thinking and project management. And PMI Puget Sound chapter will be our spotlight chapter for next month. Plus, please do join us. Watch our social media channels for the next announcement. And with this, thank you very much, everyone, for joining in, and hope to see you again next time. Bye.